Hello and welcome if you are a first-time viewer, or welcome back if you've seen my videos before. If you're looking for information for a Harbor Freight milling machine, part number 33686, that doesn't include somebody trying to sell it on Craigslist, you're in the right place. When I unboxed this machine, it was completely covered in grease, and here's a couple photos. I probably spent a good 2 hours cleaning this thing up, and then I had to dismantle it piece by piece so that I could bring it down 13 steps into my basement. This machine weighing 750 pounds was going to be pretty tough to do by myself. I'd like to go over a few things with you, like this cutter here. It does come with a machine, as well as a chuck and another R8 adapter. What doesn't come with the machine that you're seeing right now is this vise. And I'd like to show you some pictures of the DRO that I've installed. It's a relatively cheap DRO that I purchased off of eBay. I think I offered them $175 and they took the offer, and I had it a few days later. The DRO came with a 250, a 500, and 750 millimeter readers. I used the 250 millimeter reader on the on the Y-axis. I used the 500 on the X-axis, and I ended up cutting down the 750 to use on the Z. I figured since that'd be the first time trying to cut a glass DRO, I better use the longer one, because the other two fit pretty well where they were at. That way if I had a mistake, I'd have plenty left over to hopefully get it right the next time. But I did manage to cut it and not break anything on the first try. If you're interested in buying a mill, you're probably wanting to know what tools you might need to go with it. Like I said, this cutter comes with it, but it's really pretty big, and even though I've used it, I don't know if I would recommend it. I did have to set the height of all 4 blades before I used it the first time, and it does work. Probably the first thing you're going to need, which is really important, is a vise. As you can see, it's not a Kurt. It's a cheap one that I picked up off eBay as well. Next thing you'll probably want are some parallels. This is another cheap set that I purchased off of eBay, or maybe it was Amazon, I'm not sure. But if you have a Harbor Freight store nearby, you can get them there as well. Probably the thing that I've used the most so far is this R8 to R32 Call It Adapter. This fits up into the spindle and holds R32 Call It's. Along with that, I picked up this cheap set of milling bits. There's 4 flute and 2 flute. High-speed steel is what they're made out of. And even though they're really cheap, they seem to be working really well for me. And of course, to go with the ER32 holder, you'll need some ER32 chucks. I picked up a set of, I think, 13 or 14, something like that. They're pretty cheap as well off of eBay. And so far they're working really great. They come pretty greased up, and some of the slots have little pieces of metal left in them, but nothing that's too worrying, and didn't take much to get cleaned out. The machine seems to move real nice and easy. When I had it apart, I noticed that all the ways and the gibs were hand scraped. The column in the back where it mounts to the base looks like it was ground to help keep it centered and straight. And after putting everything back together, I checked the flatness of the bed compared to the spindle, and I think I'm a 1/1000th and a half as far as I could reach left to right, and only 1/2 thousandths front to back. And I've thought about, and I'm probably, I don't know, I might end up doing it in the future, is shimming the column to help get rid of that 1/1000th and a half. But I'm serious, that was probably a good, what is this, 20 inches that I was able to reach across and get that 1/1000. So it's not horrible. Like right here in the middle, you're probably looking maybe a couple tenths, 3/10 or something like that. So it's not the worst thing in the world. When I purchased this mill, it was advertised as a 1.5 horsepower. After unboxing it and looking at the tag on the back of the motor, it did show a 2 horsepower motor. It came pre-wired for 110 volt, but it did not take much to switch a couple wires around to get it to run on 220 volt. I had to cut the 110 plug off of the end of the cord and switch it over to a 220 volt plug, but that wasn't very much work either. If there's anything that you're interested in and knowing about this mill, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.